Hey, I'm Josh from Vacuums R Us in Colorado, and today we're going to be covering my Kirby doesn't turn on, no power. Hit the power button, nothing happens. And we're going to walk you through kind of the easiest fixes, potential fixes, to the most difficult and help you to narrow down why it's not powering on. There's a lot of issues with Kirby's that will keep them from turning on that seem very dramatic, but are actually not. There's a number of safety switches on Kirby's which can be inappropriately triggered, which will keep them from turning on, okay? So it might not be that big of a deal. Before you bring it in, there's a couple things that you can check. All right, before we start this repair, disclaimer time. This video is for informational purposes only. These repairs should only be done by factory authorized technicians in vacuum stores. If something goes wrong here, I am not responsible for any issues that might arise. If the vacuum becomes sentient and eats your cat, not our problem. Seriously though, watch the entire video. A lot of these repairs are very difficult. Make sure you're confident in performing this repair before you start, because the last thing in the world you want to do is take this machine apart and then bring it into a repair shop because you couldn't complete the repair. Many repair shops, like ours, will not accept machines once they've been messed around with. So make sure you can do this before you start, because you're in it to win it. So first of all, there's a safety switch to make sure that this bag is connected. So that safety switch is right down here, and you can actually see the switch right here. It's inside the machine, and when you bring this back and forth, there's a little nub on your bag right here on your bag dock, and that bag dock is going to engage a switch that is right here. So oftentimes what will happen is your bag might be a little bit loose. It looks like it's okay, it's not going anywhere, but that little nub right there is not engaging that switch. So you can tighten your bag up and your machine might turn back on. Another thing that can happen is it'll be loose out like that and it just won't stay locked in. You push it in, but it pushes back out, it flops back out, and it's not engaging that switch. So if you plug the machine in, hold this manually so that you know that switch is engaged, and then hit your power switch and see if you turn on. If you do, your issue is that your bag is not staying locked. If that's the case, if your bag is just not staying locked, most commonly it's this ring right here. There's a gasket right here that wears out, and this ring can be replaced, and it's not even screwed in. You take a flathead and this plastic ring that's right here that has this gasket will pop right out. It should pop right out. Hopefully this one does. There it goes. I'm not going to take it all the way out because I don't want to damage it, but you can see that this is popping out. Sometimes you will damage it taking it off. If you're replacing it, that's fine, but I don't want to do that because this is I don't want to damage the machine. But this ring right here often is worn on older Kirby's, and it's causing it not to lock in and engage that power switch down here. The other switch, and this is less common that I see this being an issue because people usually know this, but there is another safety switch that will not allow the machine to turn on unless the head is attached. And that safety switch is right here. That is the switch. And you have a metal nub right here on your head. And when you install the head, that nub will push this switch in and allow the machine to turn on. It'll let the machine know that the head is installed. You'll notice on your hose, you have like a plastic arm that sits off to the side, and that plastic arm engages these switches as well. It lets the machine know that this motor shaft is covered by the hose assembly and it's safe. They don't want you to turn this machine on in this condition with the motor shaft sitting out here like this because it's potentially dangerous. So even the hose will actually engage that. So that's the other thing. If you have the head off and it won't turn on, well, that's per design. It's supposed to be that way. Believe it or not, this is the most common reason Kirby's do not turn on. So the next most common thing is that your power cord has actually failed. So vacuum cleaner power cords, they get moved around, they go back and forth constantly, and they actually break internally, and there's literally no power going to the machine. So we can test the power cord, and if the power cord tests bad, we know that that's the issue with the machine, and we can simply replace the power cord. Now, how the power cord is attached, they'll vary slightly depending on the model of the machine, but generally speaking, the idea is the same. So to test the power cord, we need to remove it. We need to take the bag off. So we'll unclip up here, and we'll pull that off to get that out of the way. And we'll need to unplug the cord down here so we can get to the other end of the cord. On my machine, there's one screw. On any Kirby that has a power drive, you're gonna have one screw right there. On my machine, it's a T20. It's a Torx bit. That's not a Phillips. There are a couple models of Kirby's that they used Phillips head, But most of the more modern Kirbys that have been made in the last 20 years, they're using Torx screws, which are the little star things. I'll link to where you can buy these bit sets below. And then you need to take the plastic cover off. To do that, you just take a flathead and you pop that cover off. And then you can unplug the cord. See, the cord installation on these is super easy. So now we've got the cord unplugged. Now we can test continuity on that cord. And you know, depending on what multimeter you have, there's different settings on them. I'm just going to set mine to do continuity. You may have to look up the manual to yours. On mine, that is going to set it to test continuity. One note, anytime you're testing continuity, always verify that you're set up properly. So I'm set, everything's plugged in. This is going to be a good continuity test. Now I happen to know this cord is good, but I'm going to show you how to do this anyway. So essentially you want to make sure that power is going through, that you have full connectivity on both of these prongs to this other end of this thing, right? And I don't remember which one of these is which, like which lines up with which. I never do. So I'm just going to go ahead, I put one in there, and then I'll put the other end, not that one. There we go. You hear it beep. Some multimeters beep. Some of them you just have to read the numbers to see if you've got continuity. But anyway, so I've got it plugged into one side, and if I touch, I can hear and I can see that I have continuity. So I'm going to plug it into the other side of this cord and test the other side of my plug. And I also have continuity there. So I know this cord is good. Power is able to flow through the cord, and it's good. If you have gotten this far and you have not found the problem at this point, if it's not the cord, if it's not this switch, the bag not being tight, then the final most likely issue is not your motor, it's actually the power switch box. It's right inside here. I'll do another video about power switch box replacement at another time. It's not a particularly easy repair, it's pretty tight. You have to rip a lot of the machine apart to replace the power switch. But that is your next most common issue that will cause your Kirby not to turn on. The motors rarely fail. When the motors do fail, it's not that they don't turn on. They usually will turn on, but they'll make a horrible noise, they'll smell. But usually power not turning on is related to one of these switches not being flipped, a bad cord, or last case, worst case scenario is your switch box. Thank you for watching Vacuums R Us YouTube today. Like and share. If you start sharing vacuum repair videos with your friends, your friends need to get new friends. If you share this video with your friends, your friends need to upgrade their friend game, because you need to get a life. You really do. You really do. But if you have a broken Kirby that's not turning on, hopefully this video helped you.